In this video I want to demonstrate a new feature of Freestyle which is called Convert to Nuance. This allows you to quickly convert VST instruments into nuance patches. So to start, I'm going to load up a VST instrument. In this case we use Native Instruments Massive. I'm going to load a patch to use with Massive, so I think I want to use an analog sort of style patch, so let's have a look. So let's preview some of these. I think I'll use Analog Classic 2, so I'm going to drag that into Massive. I can play it on my MIDI keyboard. Nothing unusual so far. Here's the new feature. If I right click on the instance of Massive, I've got this option Convert to Nuance. If I click that and click OK, Freestyle is going to multi-sample the VST instrument and then it's going to load it up into a new instance of Nuance here. So I can play this on my keyboard. As you can hear, it's a faithful reproduction of the original VST instrument. So if we just delve a little bit deeper, we can have a look at the mapping and we can see here that Freestyle has multi-sampled across the pitch range and also multi-sampled across the velocity range. A really clever feature of this is that if we right-click again, we can choose this option, Restore Analog Classic 2. This will restore our instance of Massive into exactly the same state as before we multi-sampled it. So this allows us to go back into Massive, we can tweak some of the settings, and then go back and multi-sample it again. Just to give you an overview into some of the possible settings, here we've got key, low and high. This specifies the range of keys that Freestyle is going to multi-sample, so lowest to highest. We've got key zones. This tells Freestyle how many keys of the keyboard we want to spread each sample over. So at the moment, we've got one sample spread across every 4 keys. If you've got a very detailed, complex patch, you might even want to choose 1 semitone. That means that each key on the keyboard has its own sample. With 4 semitones, we've got 3 samples for every octave of the keyboard. Velocity zones is similar. This just tells Freestyle how many different velocity levels to sample. At the moment, it's going to sample 4 different velocity levels for every single note. If you've got a patch that doesn't respond to velocity, you'd want to choose 1 because your velocity is not going to change. If you've got a patch that changes very much over the velocity scale, you might choose a higher number, 8 or 16. Note length. This is basically how long Freestyle is going to hold down the note for to sample it. So at the moment we've got a quarter note it's going to hold it down for. If you've got a long, complex evolving pad, you might choose a bar or even 4 bars. But remember, Freestyle continues recording after it's released the note to fully capture the decay of any sound that's playing. Next, we've got the sample rate, which you can select, the folder where the patch is going to be saved, the file name, and we've got embed samples. By default, Freestyle will create a new folder of samples labeled with the pitch and the velocity. If you turn on this feature, Freestyle will create a single nuance file with all the samples embedded within it. So again, when I click OK, Freestyle is going to multi-sample the instrument back into a nuance patch. So once we have our samples in nuance, we can start to edit them in ways that possibly we couldn't with the original synth. So we can add some effects. Maybe a filter. I want some monosynth sound, so let's reduce the number of voices, add some glide. And then maybe add an LFO for a sort of chiptune style pitch effect. And then we can go on and add some effects to it. So let's have a look at some effects. I'm going to use the built-in new Sonic Art chorus effect. So let's add this. And then maybe let's go for a bit of delay as well. So I've just added a few extra parts to this project to show off what you can do using this new feature. So to show you what I've constructed, I'm going to go into Structure View. So we've got our original patch that we converted earlier, and I've attached an event player to that to play some sound into it. So let's just preview what that's going to sound like just by itself. I've got a drum sequence that we've also used Nuance to program, also with its own effects, going through a separate mixer. So let's have a listen to that. And we're using the Spire synth by Reveal Audio to add just another extra part. We've attached it to another event player. So finally, we've got a fourth section, which is saved as a snapshot, where we're also using an event player attached to Nuance. Let's have a listen to this. As you can see, it's our analog classic sound again. This time we've edited it slightly. So finally, let's put it all together and see what we can accomplish in Freestyle using this new feature with macros and snapshots.